Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Going to be looking at something a little different today. This is a 1964 Superior Plastics Inc. Kit of the United Nations buildings. It's kit number 2300-200. So it had a suggested retail price of $2, so a bit of an expensive kit in 1964. This is part of a series that was produced by Superior called the Worldwide Wonders, and this was number 4 in that series. The other ones included the Statue of Liberty was number 1, the Taj Mahal was number 2, Lincoln Memorial was number 3, the UN buildings was the kit number 4, and the final one was Yankee Stadium. So this kit originated with a company called Worcester Toys in the 1950s. This was part of their famous building series, which only included 2, which was the first issue of this UN building set, and also what they called the sports stadium, which was the Yankee Stadium that ended up with Superior. So both of those kits ended up with Superior, and it was incorporated into that line for the Worldwide Wonders. These molds were then sold to another company called Educational Products Inc. in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Their issues of the kits were virtually identical to these. The exception is they changed the name, got rid of their Superior Plastics, put their logo on there, and then they got rid of the Superlawn Plastics logo as well. So they issued that late 60s, and then in the 70s, a company called MDK Inc., who was more involved with model railway kits, you got a hold of some of these molds as well. They had 2 lines, the K-line for their train kits, and then the K-line Vills for their building sets. And so they included these kits from the original Superior series, and also some Marks kits that Marks had made a couple of building sets as well too. They made like the White House and the Capitol building and a couple others. And so this kit ended up being part of that lineup for a while in the 70s. I think 74 was when this one was released through MDK, and that was kit number 4196. And then supposedly some of those kits ended up getting acquired by Glencoe, and Glencoe issued a couple of them. When they acquired them, they did not sell well, so they stopped issuing it. There's some information that possibly this UN kit was going to be released with some sort of a rocket set to be, part of like a base, lunar base or something. But that did not happen, since those first 2 issues from Glencoe did not sell well at all. They shelved those plans. So the mold for this may still exist, and may be in the possession of Glencoe is the most recent information on it. So all this information, the majority of it came from viewer Paul Adams down in New Zealand. He's done some research into this and provided some of the information that we're reviewing here. So let's take a look at the kit and see what this thing looks like. So we got on the box cover here, looks like a photograph of the UN building complex. And then we got the UN flag drawing here. We've got the Worldwide Wonders, number 4 in a series across the top. Fun to assemble model kit. And you can build all of the 4 buildings that are on the property. And special feature, you can use it as a bank and watch your money grow. And they're talking about here that it's finally detailed in Superlawn, which is a proprietary plastic from Superior Plastics. In feeling the kit, it does feel like it's a pretty hard, dense plastic, which these kits were, and the majority of the stuff that was being produced by Superior Plastics, they did a whole line of all kinds of educational stuff. So it makes sense that they would want these things to be really strong. They're going to be being handled in like classrooms and museums and things like that. And in fact, down across here, they're talking about them being custom molders and extruders. So they're more of an industrial plastic manufacturer that kind of seemed to dabble in this plastic kit stuff for a little while. On the side here, got the UN logo, just a big name on the side. Same thing on this end. On the box end, we've got our kit number here, printed the US, their address, the copyright of 64, and a repeat of the top box art. And here it's talking about, again, part of the series. On this end here, looks the same. Same information. And let's see what we got inside. So there's a lithograph that's been wrapped and glued onto a hard box. And we've got this insert here from Superior Plastics for you to mail in. I think this is an order form. And interesting, they've got samples of all these orders they've received from all these different schools highlighted across there. This side here has part of their desk set series, which is parts of the models that they have that they're adding a pen and set on there. These I think were bagged. And then here we've got some charts. Then here we've got the Worldwide Wonders series. So here's the Statue of Liberty one, which you can see with this, they cut it down to just the statue. So you're not getting the base on that one. And there's your Taj Mahal, pretty spectacular. And that was an expensive kit. That sucker was $4. And then here's your Lincoln Memorial. This one was really expensive at $5. And here's the Lincoln statue that's inside the Lincoln Memorial. That went to that. Statue of Liberty's $2. There's your UN. And there's your Yankee Stadium. If you notice also, they've got, under each one of these, they've also got that you could order a completely assembled, ready for use kit. Then this one's pretty interesting. You could order a set of beads, for doorways. It is the 60s. And here's the rest of their lineup of kits. You can see it's a lot of educational stuff. Breathing Man, Pumping Hearts, Molars, various different skeletons, Visible Man, Amoeba, Deep Sea Lobster. I've seen this one, and it's molded in this bright red plastic. It looks pretty cool. And again, you can see a lot of these are all listed as the kit price, and then also you could buy it fully assembled. There's your eyeball. These 5 senses in this molar, I know ended up with Lindbergh, because I had those as a kid. This sense of touch, and then the molar in Lindbergh issue. And then you've got some bag versions of the kits here. Probably cheaper ones to be able to like distribute in a classroom. You got this great grasping hand that talks about it being actually, wood grasp. So that's pretty cool. And a brain and a big bullfrog. And a modern man skeleton, not to be confused with a Neanderthal. So that's your insert, showing a pretty good lineup there. I got our assembly instructions for the United Nations building. It does call for polystyrene cement on here, and using an emery board for filing down the edges. Logo again. and putting your buildings together. And then it does come with flagpoles, and it gives you this pretty extensive explanation as to why there's no flags. And also that you could send in, if you want to get flags, not necessarily to put with this kit, but you could get flags of the United Nations from mailing into the United Nations. And then there's the base that you're supposed to put it on. And another plug for some of the other kits in the series. They make a lot of mention of Superlon all over the place. So, yeah, they were really proud of that plastic. You have a thing in here from March of 1965 from Carl's Toys and Stationery. This may be the same Carl's Toy Store that I went to in the 70s. It's a pretty cool shop, I remember. I'm going to guess that $1.99 is probably for this kit. So here we have our plastic parts. Start with our main building sides. This kind of translucent-ish, almost blue, to represent all the windows of the main building. And it's kind of warped a little bit over time. They might have to use a lot of rubber bands to get this thing fitting correctly. And then we have building sides, also in blue. Just have one tree of some smaller parts. And some roof parts, it looks like, maybe. And then we have the assembly building molded in one part here, the roof. And again, this is kind of this translucent. I don't know how well you can see that. But it's got this kind of marbly translucentness to it. It is a very strange plastic. It is pretty slick, but very stiff. It's the base of something. And then another piece, a little bit warped again. And some more windows for one of the smaller buildings. Front and back of the General Assembly building. And another part, maybe. I think that's the roof of the Secretariat building. There's a slot for your coins. And not sure what that part is. Few little building pieces. And here's your flag poles, which you don't get flags for. The Worcester issue of the kit, I was able to find some images of somebody who had one of those. And you can see a little sheet with flags, but I'm not sure if they would fit on these. They look a little bit large for this. They're one-sided, and they're not that kind of reverse image double-sided that you'd wrap around something to glue on. So I'm not sure if they actually meant for this to go on these or not, but maybe somebody who has that kit can tell us. And then inside here is, in the bottom, is the base that you would then put this all on. So fairly simple looking. But you put your Secretary building here, your General Assembly building, your flag poles across the front. So this is what it would sit on. There you have it. A little something different. Yeah, these types of kits, of course, didn't sell well. I mean, You know, what would a kid rather have? You know, a Tiger tank, a Mustang, a Thunder Chief, or the UN building? I think this was pretty much the exclusively being used for classroom stuff. You know, like a lot of the kits that they're kind of scientific or really stuff that was built by kids for some classroom school project. Instead of writing a report, you can make a model or something. So I think that's kind of what this really more fits into, as opposed to, you know, really truly being marketed, you know, to model kit builders. I think this is more of a classroom tool kind of kit. So that's about it for this. If you've built one of these, you know, absolutely tell us about it. Be interesting to hear somebody's experience with this type of kit. If you've got any one of these sitting on your shelf, absolutely send a picture in so we could share it with others. There's not a lot of information online. I was very fortunate for Paul to have been able to supply some of the information that supported this video. So if you've got a built one, definitely take a picture of it, send that in so we can share it with others on this one. And that's about it. I'll show you on the outro, some of the other boxings and what that Worcester kit looked like, on their bag or their boxing inside. And that's about it. Well, thanks for watching. And as always, have yourself a great rest of your day.